a shootout that happened on the opposite side, and they captured it. So that footage was sold to BBC for an amount. She fell in love with me much before she met me because she watched Dil Pe Mat Le Yaar in San Francisco. Everybody wanted to be Shah Rukh Khan that time. Everybody wanted to do that big commercial blockbuster. Painted my face black.
Smeared
Me in black, and I had to touch a lady's feet for insulting their sentiments.
When you made Dil Pe Mat Le Yaar, that was in a sense an extension of that same movement, right? Like in a sense, because those are the kind of people you're working with. That was the kind of subject it was. I mean, it was about migrant life, about the outsiders to a city. It had a quirky feel to it. It wasn't your mainstream, but it wasn't your art house either. Would you agree?
It was. I mean, see the initial script that we wrote, Saurabh. It was an idea that
Saurabh Shukla, who also wrote Satya.
Yeah. So Saurabh was acting with me when Kaun was being made. He was acting in a show, in a thing called Rishte, which was making a Z, a series.
Right.
So it was a show. It was a story called Ae Mote. It's about a fat man's love story.
Okay.
Yeah. So much before Bala and all these things happened, it's about a man who can't tell a woman because he's worried about his size. We were shooting that, and Saurabh was a bit restless. So he was upset about something going on in his professional life. So I sat with him. I said, "Ki Saurabh, ek story hai, main sunata hu tere ko." So it was just a random story about, I had read something seen something in the news. A couple was making out and they had kept a video camera on. And piche there was a big blast, a shootout that happened on the opposite side, and they captured it. So that footage was sold to BBC for an amount.
Interesting.
Right. So I said, yeah, this is like, it's a story, it's a business idea. So what if somebody who shoots marriages like me, it was a almost biographical character.
Right.
Somebody who shoots marriages like me sees a contract killing. He has a friend who's the contract killer, and he says, I'll shoot it and sell it to the news. So that was the idea that I posed. I said, what if a videographer does this? So Saurabh said, marriage, shadi wala main banunga. To main likhunga. I said, done. It started that way. Then I went to Manoj. Saurabh wrote something. We went to Manoj. Manoj said, done. Satya had not happened. And we had written one draft. Manoj ko,
So Manoj would say yes anyway, right? Because Satya
no, well, he said yes. He said yes. He said yes anyway.
And then lead.
And then Satya happened. Then Satya happened. Manoj just completely exploded on the scene. He was being signed by everyone. So I had to re-narrate Dil Pe Mat Le Yaar to him. And he said, you need to upgrade the film thoda sa. Thoda scale badhao, commercial karo. So then Tabu came in. So I was in touch with Tabu for something else. And I requested her to do the film. So then Tabu came into the film. So Manoj Bajpayee, Tabu, and we had to add songs. So there were no songs in the original script. And the final film had
now that you're scaling it up, you need songs as well.
So we had 6 songs.
So
full soundtrack. Udit Narayan, Abhijit. So it became, while the film was...
It became a mainstream from an indie.
Yeah, and I somehow feel that, that it had that indie spirit undercurrent. And every time the song would come, it would sort of, you would jump out of that.
Correct.
And that, for me, destroyed the film.
Right.
In a way. That you were not seeing a film, a lot of people, I mean, the woman I'm married to right now, actually fell in love with me much before she met me. Because she watched Dil Pe Mat Le Yaar in San Francisco. And she met me, she told me,
Dil Pe Lag Gaya.
It was like a fan moment. And I said, do you really remember that film? Because that film's failure broke me.
I think it's his best film.
It is, absolutely, yeah.
It broke me, but that film really broke me. I mean, financially.
Because of the finances?
Finances, we put in our own money. We put in our own money, and what happens is when an actor achieves this heady highs of stardom, and that suddenly just comes nose diving. Because you are doing something that you had not actually. So all his films with Ramu were doing well.
Correct.
Everything outside, there was a commercial.
It's like a Prabhas effect, na? Matlab, Bahubali did well. Doesn't mean anything that Prabhas is in is going to do equally well in that sense.
We were also young. Everybody wanted to be Shah Rukh Khan that time. Everybody wanted to do that big commercial blockbuster because none of those films paid your bills. So everybody wanted money out of those films. Manoj also went through his process. The process. We were all in our early 30s at that time. So I think he just we put in our own money, and by the time the film came out, things had gone downhill. And we lost some money on the film, and all that just bogged me down. You know, the reviews weren't good, so neither was the film.
Yeah, one of the two has to work, right?
Yeah,
Either critically acclaimed or commercial blockbuster.
दोनों नहीं हुए.
Right.
Nobody got the film. Nobody got the film.
And there was another issue also, no, that happened with the film.
That happened later. Then the whole attacking me over a dialogue in the film. It happened 5 weeks later when the film was almost out of the theatres. Sort of attacked me for a dialogue, and it was a major thing, like Danda village where I grew up. That was my Janma Bhumi. I was called there and they painted my face black.
They're smeared.
Smeared me in black, and I had to touch a lady's feet for insulting their sentiments. This is way back in 2000. So that sort of scarred me in a big way. You know, that I had to do that. And there was a riot almost. There were thousands of people who had gathered there and they were shouting slogans.
Outside your house?
Outside Danda village. They came to my office first in trucks. They arrived in trucks. They beat me up in my office. They vandalized the office and said कि कल आओ नहीं तो we will burn Kishore Kadam's house. Kishore Kadam is an actor who used to live in Danda then. He was in Fandry, very lovely actor.
Yeah.
So they said we'll burn Kishore's house. I said किशोर का घर क्यों जलाओगे? बोला नहीं तुम आओ इधर माफी मांगो. Because the cops had told me don't go. So we tried all night to contact people कि भाई क्या करें. I told the cops, I said, listen, if Kishore का घर जल गया ना, वो बेचारा मतलब it's a small house there. He's afraid. He called me at night saying यार लोग इधर बाहर बैठ के दारू पी रहे हैं, and you know they put bonfires outside the house just to threaten me. So I mean that was heartbreaking. You know, I had to literally fall on people's feet and all. That found itself in Shahid. That moment when Shahid is smeared.
Right.
It's on the poster of Shahid. So that moment was film that is talking about voyeurism. Suddenly, people observing something happening. I became the observed.
Right.
I became like this spectacle.
Do you have a picture from that? I mean, of course, it's not something to...
No, it wasn't. I ran away. I mean, so there were people from that party only who contacted me later and said कि सलाह देता हूँ. The other politicians started calling me saying कि don't worry, we are supporting you, and I was reeling,
you're stuck. Yeah.
No, I'm reeling from the failure of the film with financial loss. इसमें ये कहाँ? So one guy said कि एक सलाह देता हूँ, 1 month just go away. So I went away. I went to Pune and stayed with a friend, and I came back after 15 days. Sort of just completely went under the radar, and I feel that time I should have raised my voice more. I was like, and that that very suffocated voice was the voice that made those indifferent films for that many years.
Really?
Yeah. So I was like I said this, I'm not going to try and make these kind of films anymore until Shahid happened.
Subscribe to Midday India. Get direct notifications on all our videos by clicking on the bell icon.